So in this video we are going to discuss the characteristics of the compounds of S-block elements. Thereafter, so what are the important compounds? So we are going to discuss in S-block elements. Okay. So let us restart the characteristics of the compounds. In that the first one, oxides and hydroxides. So if you take the oxides and hydroxides, most of the oxides and hydroxides of this S-block elements are colorless. So they are colorless. So what is the reason behind that? So the colorless, so as we know, the metal ions, if you take metal oxides, in that metal oxide, metal ions, either 1A group elements or 2A group elements, all the metal ions are having stable octet configuration. So because of having the stable octet configuration, the electrons cannot excite and they cannot de-excite. So there was no electron-electron transitions. If there was no electron transitions, then they will not impart any color to that. That is why the metal ions are colorless, no doubt. Coming to the anions, what are the anion here? Oxide and hydroxide. Oxides and hydroxides, they both are what? Colorless only, as like metal ions, 1A group and the 2A group metal ions. The anions also colorless. So here, all the metal oxides and hydroxides are what? Colorless. Okay. Coming to the next one, as we know, beryllium is a covalent in nature. So the beryllium oxide is a covalent because of small size, okay, large ionization energy. So beryllium oxides are covalent and they are amphoteric. Okay, it is showing the diagonal relationship with the aluminum of the 13th group. So the oxide of beryllium is what? Amphoteric in nature. What do you mean by amphoteric nature? They shows both acidic behavior and as well as basic behavior. Okay, next come to the next one. When we check the oxides and hydroxides of 1A group element and the 2A group elements, when you check these two, usually the basic strength and thermal stability of 1A group oxides and hydroxides are greater than 2A group elements. So how can we confirm? Suppose if you take the 2A group hydroxide, that means magnesium hydroxide if you take. If you heat the magnesium hydroxide on heating, it will liberate what? Magnesium hydroxide on heating, they immediately liberates magnesium oxide and H2O at very low temperature. At high temperature, at low temperature than this sodium hydroxide. That means sodium hydroxides are what? They are more thermally stable. Okay, so not only thermal stability, even the basic strength. As we know, alkali metal oxides and hydroxides are more basic than alkaline earth metal oxides and hydroxides. That is why the basic strength and thermal stability of 1A group oxides and hydroxides are greater than 2A group hydroxides. Next one, they both are strong bases, as we know that. And one important point here you should remember that the oxides, hydroxides of 1A group and 2A group elements are what? Colorless. But the superoxides are yellow or orange color. That point you should remember. What is, you may get the doubt, then what is the reason? So the reason behind that, it might be because of presence of some impurities in it. So maybe because of some impurities in it, the superoxides are generally, what is the color? Either yellow or orange color. So this is about what? Oxides and hydroxides of these S-block elements. Next, let us move to the halides of them. Usually the halides, how they will prepare? They can prepare the halides by treatment of hydrogen halides with either metal oxides, metal hydroxide, metal carbonate. When metal oxides, metal hydroxides and metal carbonates are treatment with the hydrogen halides, they produce what? Metal halides. That is the one best method for the preparation of metal halides. Next one, here an important point is that if you see the halides of this 1A group elements, when you go from lithium fluoride to cesium fluoride, that means fluorides of 1A group from top to bottom. Okay, lithium fluoride to cesium fluoride, the stability decreases more. Very important. When you go from lithium fluoride to cesium fluoride, what happens? The stability decreases. What is the reason? As we know, as already I told you, the smaller anions are stabilized by smaller cations and the larger anions are stabilized by larger cations. Here fluoride is what? Smaller anion. So smaller anions are more stabilized by smaller cations. So that is why lithium fluorides are more stable than cesium fluoride. That is why when you go from lithium fluoride to cesium fluoride, what happens? The stability decreases. other than fluorides. If you take any other halides, chlorides, bromides, iodides, whatever it may. So in case of any other halides, when you go from lithium halides to cesium halides, okay, here what happens, the stability increases. Stability increases. Why? Because other than fluorides means chloride, bromide, iodide. These three halides are bigger than fluorides, means larger anions. Larger anions are stabilized by larger cations. That is why the stability increases from lithium halides to cesium halides, except fluorides. So this is an important point you should remember. Next, when you take generally metal fluorides, metal chlorides, metal bromides, metal iodides, when you compare, for example, NaF, NaCl, NaBr, NaI. Okay, so the halides of the same metal. When you compare the, usually the melting point, boiling point, stability, these are the general properties, generally decreases down the road. For example, if you take NaF, NaCl, NaBr, okay, sodium is this much bigger, fluoride, okay, equal size. What happens? The size increases, bond length increases, bond energy decreases, so the stability decreases. That is why usually in a group, when you go from metal fluorides to metal iodides, what happens? The melting, boiling and the stability decreases down the road. This is the general trend, you should remember, but there is a difference between these two properties. And one more thing, anomalous property. Out of all fluorides, out of all halides, lithium fluoride is insoluble, and as well as cesium iodide is also insoluble. They both are insoluble, but the reasons are different. See, lithium fluoride is insoluble because of what? Because lithium is having, it's a small size, okay, having high lattice energy. Because of high lattice energy, okay, as we know, lattice energy is directly proportional to Q1 Q2 by R square. So it's inversely proportional to what? Size. Smaller size means higher lattice energy. So lithium and the fluorine, they both are what? Smaller sizes. So they are having high lattice energy. So if the lattice energy is more, then the solubility was less. That is why lithium fluoride is insoluble. What is the reason? Because of high lattice energy. Even cesium iodide is also insoluble. Here what is the reason? In case of cesium iodide, okay, what happened? Larger cation, larger anion. Larger cation, larger anion. In case of larger anions, so what happened? In case of larger anions, what happened? The increase in the sizes of cation and anion, no difference. It completely depends upon hydration enthalpy. But hydration enthalpy of cesium is least. So lithium fluoride is insoluble because of lattice enthalpy, high lattice enthalpy, whereas cesium iodide is insoluble because of low hydration enthalpy. Reasons are different, but the trend is okay. So next move to the, so after the halides, let us we move to the oxosalts. Oxosalts mean, under this we will discuss carbonates, next nitrates, next bicarbonates and sulfates. These are the oxosalts. Yes, for our convenience, 1A group already I told you, 1A group I am representing as M plus, and 2A group elements I am representing as plus 2, M plus 2. Now, when you check the first A group elements in carbonates, if you take the first A carbonates, metal carbonates, first A metal carbonates are thermally stable, so if you heat it, they will not decompose. Okay, there was no decomposition. No decomposition. All 1A group metal carbonates are thermally most stable except lithium. Why? Because lithium is showing anomalous similarity with what? 2A group elements. That is why, except lithium, remaining all metal carbonates, okay, cannot decompose on heating. Coming to the secondary metal carbonates. When the secondary metal carbonates on heating, they splits into what? Metal oxide and carbon dioxide. Okay, secondary metal carbonates can decompose and releases what? Carbonate. Whereas in addition to the 2A group elements, the lithium carbonate also, as like 2A group elements, the lithium carbonate also on heating it decomposes into oxide and carbon dioxide. Okay, so 2A group elements and lithium carbonate, they both can decompose, but all 1A group except lithium cannot decompose. Okay. Next here, so because of this decomposition, all secondary carbonates are decomposing into oxide and carbon dioxide. Right? So that is why, to prevent this decomposition, what they do, as per the Le Chatelier principle, to reduce the decomposition of beryllium carbonate, okay, they combine the beryllium carbonate with carbon dioxide. Okay, here because the carbon dioxide is one of the product. If the product concentration increases, what happens? The equilibrium shifts towards backward, so the decomposition reaction decreases. So that is why always to stabilize or to prevent the decomposition of beryllium carbonate, they store the beryllium carbonate with the carbon dioxide. So this is about the carbonates. Next, move to the nitrates. Nitrates. Here there is a clear difference between the nitrates of 1A and 2A group elements. What is that? When 1A group metal nitrates, okay, alkali metal nitrates on heating, nitrate becomes nitrites by the liberation of oxygen gas. Okay, 1A group metal nitrates on heating, they liberates nitrites by the liberation of oxygen. Whereas second A group metal nitrates, when the second A group and as well as lithium is showing the similarity with second A group elements. That is, whenever we are discussing the second A group elements, lithium also will come. So when the second A group element and the lithium, when they react with, when the nitrates on heating, they won't give the nitrites. They releases a brown colored gas and a colorless gas. So this is also a paramagnetic species. Even this is also a paramagnetic species. So two paramagnetic species will give by second A metal nitrates. So once again, 1A group metal nitrates on heating gives nitrites with the liberation of oxygen, whereas second A group metal nitrates on heating we get oxide plus NO2 plus O2. This is a clear difference. Next, one more thing here, difference is when you go from magnesium nitrates to what? Barium nitrates. Magnesium nitrates to barium nitrates. The degree of hydration of magnesium nitrate is 6. Whereas barium nitrate is anhydrous form, there was no water molecules. That means when you go from top to bottom, means magnesium to barium, what happens? The degree of hydration decreases. What is the reason? The degree of hydration, it is due to what? Decrease in the hydration enthalpy. As we know, by going down to what happens, hydration enthalpy decreases. So because of decrease in the hydration enthalpy, so magnesium nitrate's degree of hydration is decreasing from 6 to 0. Clear? This is about the nitrates. Next, go to the bicarbonates. In bicarbonates, means hydrogen carbonates, also called what? Bicarbonates. In case of hydrogen carbonate is a bigger size, bigger anion. Bigger anions are stabilized by what? Bigger cations. Then only they are stable. So come to the lithium bicarbonate. Whereas the remaining all metal bicarbonates. All metal bicarbonates can exist as what? Solids in state. Why? Because lithium can form what? Covalent compound only, covalent bonds only. Whereas all others will form ionic. Most of the ionic compounds are what? Solids. That is why all metal bicarbonates can exist as what? Can exist as solids. But lithium bicarbonates do not exist as a solid. What is the reason? Why? Because lithium can form only covalent compounds. But most of the covalent compounds are either gases or liquids. So that is the reason. So this is one of the exceptional or anomalous behavior of lithium also. Next, sulfates. Let us go in. So if you take the both 1A group sulfates or 2A group sulfates, most of the metallic sulfates are thermally stable. So on heating, they will not decompose. Most of the sulfates. Okay, so most of the sulfates are thermally stable, so they will not decompose. Next, here an important point you should remember, very important, that is most of the sulfates are insoluble in the water except beryllium and magnesium. So beryllium sulfate and magnesium sulfate, they both are soluble in the water. So for example, if you take any salt, Na2SO4, okay, K2SO4, okay, any other sulfate salts, most of the sulfates are what? Insoluble. But this beryllium and magnesium, these two sulfates are what? Soluble in the water. What is the reason? Why? Because beryllium and magnesium, they both are small size. Because of small size, smaller cations are having higher hydration enthalpy. So in these two cases, what happens? Hydration enthalpy dominating what? Lattice enthalpy. So here, one thing you should know, On what basis we can say the solubility? On what basis? Few salt solubility increasing, few salt solubility decreasing. On what basis we are going to discuss? Yes, solubility mainly depends upon solubility of any solid mainly depends on two factors. One is lattice enthalpy. The second one is hydration enthalpy. Okay, on these two factors, the solubility mainly depends. Okay, solubility depends upon lattice enthalpy and hydration enthalpy. Yes, solubility is inversely proportional to lattice enthalpy, but directly proportional to hydration enthalpy. It's inversely proportional to lattice enthalpy, but directly proportional to hydration enthalpy. Okay, now let us take a smaller anion. So this is what? A smaller anion. Okay, in case of smaller anions, okay, if the cation is either bigger or smaller, just imagine this is a smaller cation, this is a larger anion. In case of smaller anions, the size of the cation is a matter. Okay, smaller cations, larger cations. Why? Because the stability depends upon the sizes only, right? So that is why in case of smaller anions, is if there was any change in the sizes of cation will matter, will consider. So, but in that case, what happened? We need to consider the lattice enthalpy. Okay, in case of smaller anions, the solubility depends on we decide based on lattice enthalpy. One point. In which case? In case of smaller anions. Suppose if the anion is bigger, okay, then the size of the cation is not a matter. Whether it is a smaller cation or larger cation, we won't consider. Okay, in case of larger anions, the size of the cation is not considerable. So in that case, the solubility is based on what? Hydration enthalpy. Okay, in case of smaller anions, the solubility is based on lattice enthalpy. In case of larger anions, the solubility based on hydration enthalpy. Okay, now come to here. Beryllium sulfate and magnesium sulfate. Sulfates are sulfates, so carbonates, so bicarbonates, so irides. So these are what? Larger anions. In case of larger anions, the solubility depends upon hydration enthalpy. Okay, so just now, in case of larger anions, solubility depends upon hydration enthalpy. But when the hydration enthalpy, when you go down the group, what happens? The hydration enthalpy decreases. That is why beryllium and magnesium sulfates, they both are having high hydration enthalpy. That is why they are having high solubility. Solubility is directly proportional to hydration enthalpy. So that is why. Whereas in case of fluorides and hydroxides, fluorides to hydroxide, they both are what? Smaller anions. In the case of smaller anions, what is the factor on which the solubility depends? Depends upon lattice enthalpy. But the lattice enthalpy, by going down the group, lattice enthalpy decreases. So if the lattice enthalpy decreases, solubility will increases. So one final conclusion you can say that for any salt, if the solubility increases from top to bottom, the solubility is increasing from top to bottom, it is due to decreasing lattice enthalpy. It's a final conclusion. You can remember like this. For any salt, if the solubility is increasing from top to bottom, what is the reason behind that? Because of the due to decrease in the lattice enthalpy. Okay. Why? Because if the lattice enthalpy decreases, what happens? The solubility increases. Suppose if for any salt, if the solubility decreases, solubility decreasing, okay, that means from top to bottom, that is because of due to decreasing hydration enthalpy. Here from beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, what happened? The solubility decreasing because of decreasing the hydration enthalpy. Understood? So in a group from top to bottom, the solubility is increasing because of what? Decreasing the lattice enthalpy. In a group, that the solubility is decreasing from top to bottom because of decreasing the what? Hydration enthalpy. This is a final conclusion. You can remember like this. Okay, so this is about the general characteristics of the compounds of S block elements. Now let us discuss the compounds of few important compounds of S-black elements. Okay, in that the first one is Na2CO3 dot 10H2 decahydrate, sodium carbonate decahydrate. So this is what we call it as washing soda, and its anhydrous form. What is the anhydrous form of this one? Anhydrous form of sodium carbonate we call it as what? Soda ash. So this is about the first and the most important compound of the sodium. Okay, the best method for the preparation of sodium carbonate or else washing soda is what? What is that? Solvay's process. Okay, so let us discuss the Solvay's process now. So the Solvay's process. Okay, so on this Solvay's process we can make a big commercial movie. Okay, we will discuss that commercial movie later. First of all, let us discuss the steps. What are the steps which are involving in the Solvay's process? So first of all, ammonia mixed with the H2O and CO2, we will get ammonium carbonate. And this ammonium carbonate, if you are adding H2O and CO2, if you further add H2O and CO2, ammonium carbonate becomes what? Ammonium bicarbonate. Now to this bicarbonate, they will add NaCl to this, NaCl, brine solution. After the addition of brine solution, Na will go and displace the ammonia and we will get NaHCO3 and it was precipitated down. NaHCO3 was precipitated. So when this NaHCO3 on heating, as we know all bicarbonates on heating, what happened? We will get Na2CO3, carbonates will become. So like this we can prepare the sodium carbonate in this way. So here what is the byproduct here? Along with the sodium bicarbonate we are also getting what? Ammonia, ammonium chlorides will come. Okay, and this ammonium chloride, there was a advantage in this Solvay's process. Now, whatever the reactants we are using, that is like ammonia, we can recover that ammonia. Yes, how can we recover? So this is a NH4Cl. This is on reaction with a lime water, calcium hydroxide. We will get ammonia plus CaCl2 plus H2O. Like this we can recover the ammonia, and this ammonia again you can use it in the first step. Okay, so this is about the Solvay's process. Yes, what is the story behind that? Let us see. There was two kingdoms. There was two kings. They both are very they are very good friends. Okay, so this is Cationic kingdom. The name of the kingdom is Cationic kingdom, and the name of other kingdom is Anionic kingdom. Okay, so they both are very good friends. They can share the money and they can transfer the money. Why? Because cation and anion, what happened? They can transfer the electrons, they can share the electron, and finally they will make the bond. What are it? Okay, now for this cation, okay, there was three sons. What are those? One is, let us consider Ca plus 2, another one is Mg plus 2, and another one is Na plus. Okay, see, if you check these three persons, it is having plus 2 charge, plus 2 charge, plus 1. That means when you compare calcium, magnesium and sodium, okay, so calcium and magnesium, they are very stronger because they have more charge compared to the sodium. And similarly, the anions, he is also having three daughters. Okay, what are the daughters of this one? That is CO3 minus 2, CO3 minus 2, CO3 minus 2, all are same. Okay, now what he decided? He decided the kingdom of cation. The king of cation, he decided that he wants to marry these three gens to the three ladies of his friend. But the anion was refused, and he refused, and he gave a challenge. The person who come to the war and who won the war and who plant the flag in my kingdom can go and can marry my daughter. Like this, he put a condition. Okay. Now what happened? Calcium, and for that what happened? He arranged all soldiers and all. He arranged an army. That is what are the army of cation? That is, one is ammonia, Another one is what? H2O. Another one is what? CO2. Here ammonia is what? Ammonia is the minister of this army. Okay, ammonia, H2O and CO2. Okay, so he gave the orders to the minister to form an army. And what he said, and also he told him to distribute our army into 3 parts and give to our sons. So like that he gave the order. So ammonia combined with H2O and CO2 and they forms what? Ammonium bicarbonate and ammonium carbonate. Then H4 twice CO2. And he given these 3 armies, this army to equally to 3 persons. Right? Now, what happened? This calcium and magnesium, they both are very strong. Okay, they both are very strong. So, and they are having more affinity towards army also. So, by using that and by motivating the army, so they won the war and they planted the flag and finally they both, what happened? Ca plus 2 and CO3, they forms CaCO3, married. Similarly, magnesium. So, magnesium plus 2 plus CO3 minus 2 and they also MgCO3 precipitated. CaCO3 precipitated, marriage was over. But unfortunately what happened? Sodium plus, Na plus is what? Weaker compared to the remaining 2. That is why, because of his weakness, what happened? He is winning the war but he is unable to plant the flag. But what is the condition? The person who plant the flag in my kingdom, then only they can marry their daughter. That is the condition. That is why what happened? He is winning. That means sodium reacts with ammonia. Sodium reacts with ammonium carbonate, forming sodium carbonate, but it is not precipitating. It is in the form of liquid form. But we want what? Sodium. What is that? We are going to prepare what? Na2CO, the washing soda. We want washing soda in its solid form, not in liquid form. That is why the skink. So he made what is that? He changed the plan. So what is the plan? First of all, he told to minister, that is ammonia, first you make the ammonium carbonate, okay, and you join in the army of opposite party. And after that, he sent additional forces. Additional forces are what? H2O and CO2, and converts ammonium carbonate into ammonium bicarbonate. Okay, and after the ammonium carbonate is converting into ammonium bicarbonate, now he is sending the his son, what is that? Na plus, by taking the help from chloride. Now he is sending directly into the army. Okay, after he joined this army, okay, after the NaCl joined the ammonium bicarbonate, now the group was completely formed. That is what? NaHCO3. Now it was precipitated. Okay, he won the war. Okay, oh sorry, he is participating in the war. Now that war we are representing with what? Heating symbol. Heat means war. Okay, after the war, what happens? Sodium bicarbonate on heating, what we will get? Na2CO3. So because of his master plan, what happened? Finally the sodium also married the carbonate. So like this we can make a commercial movie on this Solvay's process. Okay, like this we just remember once again. Ammonia reacts with H2O and CO2. We can first he prepared ammonium carbonate. Thereafter, after he sent some more army to this ammonium carbonate, he converted the ammonium carbonate into ammonium bicarbonate. And after this ammonium carbonate reacts with the NaCl and they form sodium bicarbonate. On heating, finally we are getting sodium carbonate. But there was one drawback of this Solvay's process is that we cannot produce K2CO3. K2CO3 cannot prepare by this Solvay's process. What is the reason? The K2CO3 cannot prepare because of the solubility of KHCO3. See, to prepare the K2CO3, first we need to prepare KHCO3 now. Okay, then that KHCO3 should be solid. KHCO3 should be solid. But here, that HCO3 should be solid. But here, unfortunately, the KHCO3 is what? Insoluble. And one point remember, out of all bicarbonates, sodium bicarbonate is only the solid. That is why Solvay's process is applicable only for the preparation of sodium carbonate only. So this is about the Solvay's process. Yes, next one, NaCl. NaCl. So if you take the NaCl, as we know, NaCl is a common salt. common salt, also we call it as what? Table salt. Okay, now the main source of NaCl is what? Seawater. The main source is seawater. But in seawater, what happened when we prepare the raw salt from seawater? Whatever the salt we prepare by salt meadows, that salt we call it as what? Raw salt. And this raw salt has NaCl, MgCl2, Na2SO4, CaCl2, etc. So many salts are there, and not only NaCl. In addition to the NaCl, MgCl2, CaCl2, Na2SO4, K2SO4, like this, so many salts are present. But as we know, magnesium chloride and CaCl2, that means these are the salts of secondary group elements. Secondary group elements are having high degree of hydration. So because of high magnesium halide having 8 water molecule, CaCl2 having 6 water molecule. So because of having high degree of hydration, the raw salt immediately will absorb the moisture from the atmosphere. So the raw salt becomes what? Melts. But we need a pure crystals of sodium. How they can prepare? How they can purify? Yes, to prepare the what they are doing. First of all, they are preparing the solution of raw salt. Okay, how they are preparing solution? Not a very highly concentrated solution. Okay, first of all, what they are doing? Okay, whatever the salt is there, they are dissolving in very lesser amount of water. Okay, so they prepare the solution. Now into this solution, in this solution, what are the salts present? They are NaCl and MCl2, means CaCl2, MgCl2. Mainly these two are. Remaining salts presence or absence, there was no much effect. But presence of MgCl2, CaCl2, because of that only, the salt is going to be melt. That is why we need to remove this. So to remove that, what we are doing? So to this, okay, he added diluted HCl. So when they added the diluted HCl, okay, because of based upon the common ion effect. What is the common ion here? Chlorine is the common ion in both the salts. Okay, but the common ion effect is more in case of NaCl. Why? Because 1:1 ratio here, but here 2:1 ratio. 2:1 ratio. In case of MgCl2 or it is a 2:1 ratio, but it is a 1:1 ratio. Because of 1:1 ratio, the NaCl will get precipitated first than CaCl2 and MgCl2. So like that we can separate all NaCl from raw salt solution. So this is the best method for the purification of raw salt. Okay, so this is the NaCl. Next one, NaOH. Okay, NaOH also chemically we call it as what? Caustic soda. Caustic soda because of its causticizing action. Yes, this NaOH. Yes, how can we prepare the NaOH? NaOH we can prepare by two methods. Okay, mainly one is Nelson cell method. Next one is Kastner-Kellner method. Nelson cell process and Kastner-Kellner process. So if you take the Nelson cell method, so there was a perforated cathode, okay, graphite rods. Within the perforated cathode, asbestos, lined with asbestos, and the brine solution. When brine solution, NaCl is a brine solution. So when the brine solution on hydrogen, first of all, it splits into Na plus and Cl minus. Now, and the perforated cathode act as what? Anode. Okay, at cathode, perforated steel will act as what? Cathode. At cathode, what happened? All Na plus, okay, Na plus H2O will give NaOH, and they releases what? H plus ions. Now these two H plus ions will gain 2 electrons reduction, and they liberates hydrogen gas. So at cathode, in Nelson cell method, at cathode which gas liberates? Hydrogen gas liberates. Whereas at anode, anions are attracted towards anode. What are the anions here? Chloride ions. So two chloride ions undergo oxidation and they liberates chlorine gas. So like this, at anode chlorine gas will liberates, at cathode hydrogen gas will liberates. So this is what Nelson cell process. Coming to the Kastner-Kellner process, this is also like same like, okay, but the construction of the apparatus is different. 3 compartments, first, second, third. In first and second compartment, graphite rods and mercury act as a cathode and graphite rods acts as anode. So when you take the NaCl solution in first and third compartments, and when you electrolyze, all the Na plus ions will dissolve in ammonia, mercury, and they forms amalgams. Now you disconnect the first and third compartments. Now come to the second compartment. In second compartment, now the mercury will act as what? Anode, and a bunch of iron rods will act as cathode. And in between the 2 electrodes, water they consider a diluted NaOH as an electrolytic solution. So when we electrolyze, what happens? Now the sodium which is present in the amalgam form will be attracted by the cathode. So in between, what happens? The Na plus ion will react with the water and they forms NaOH and they liberate H plus ions. And these H plus ions undergo reduction, and again they gives H plus ions undergo reduction, they gives hydrogen. The process is same, but what happens? The construction of the cell is different. So the same mechanism happens in Nelson cell process also. Now in NaOH, so one important question repeatedly they are asking, reaction of NaOH with chlorine gas. So reaction with halogens. Reaction with halogens. Okay, this is very important. So if you take the halogen is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, except fluorine. Okay, except fluorine we are going to discuss. Except fluorine, any other halogen. Except fluorine, any other halogen. Now, whenever halogens except fluorine, and whenever the halogen reacts with a cold and a diluted NaOH, whenever the halogen reacts with cold and a diluted NaOH, we get halides and hypohalides. Halides means X minus, and hypohalides OX minus. Okay, when except fluorine, if any other halogen reacts with cold diluted NaOH, we get halides and hypohalides. So that point remember. Now, whenever the halogen reacts with NaOH, which is hot concentrated. Okay, when the halogen reacts with NaOH, hot concentrated NaOH, now we will get halides. Along with the halides, okay, halates. Halates means NaXO3. Okay, halides means X minus. Halates means what? XO3 minus. So that is the main difference. In case of cold diluted NaOH, all other halogens except fluorine will use halides and hypohalides. Whereas in case of hot concentrated NaOH, they use halides with halates. Halates. Okay. Now coming to the fluorine. Till now we discussed except fluorine. What happened to fluorine? Suppose if it is a fluorine on reaction with the NaOH, cold diluted NaOH, okay, they use OF2. Whereas in case of hot concentrated NaOH, they use NaF plus, and they leverage what? O2 gas. Here OF2 gas, here O2 gas. There is a difference between other halogens and fluorine. So frequently they are asking a question about this. Okay, so this is one about the NaOH. So now let us discuss the compounds of secondary group elements. In that secondary group elements, we will discuss the first one is CaCO3. So this is CaCO3, also we call it as what? Limestone. So when CaCO3 on heating, so what we will get? CaO and CO2. So the CaO we call it as what? Lime or quicklime. Okay, CaCO3 on thermally decomposed, we are getting CaO, that is simply we call it as lime or quicklime by the liberation of CO2 gas. Now this CaO, suppose if you dissolve the CaO in water, okay, that means if you slake means that the CaO is usually present in lumps. Okay, if you break that lumps into smaller ones, okay, that is what we call as slaked. Okay, in that slaked solution, there was a smaller lumps of CaO is present. So that is what we call it. So CaO on slaking, okay, what we will get? CaOH solution. That is what we call it as what? slaked lime. Slaked lime. Okay, so here there was a difference between milk of lime. Okay, what is milk of lime? See, milk of lime is nothing but, suppose lime water, milk of lime. What is the difference between them? Suppose if you CaO is completely dissolved in water. Suppose if you dissolve the CaO completely in the water, not like lumps. In here, slaked lime means lumps of CaO is present in the solution. Means it's like a colloidal solution, not a true solution. Whereas in case of lime water suspension, suppose if we completely dissolve the CaO in the water, okay, so what happened? Like this, a suspension solution will form and a clear solution. Okay, like this will form. So if you filter that in another beaker, the clear solution, the supernatant solution that we are getting after filtration, this is what we call as lime water. Lime water. And that precipitate, the remaining precipitate, that suspension solution, not precipitate, in fact, suspension solution, this suspension solution we call it as what? Milk of lime. Milk of lime. This is the difference. So this is a slaked lime, this is lime water, and this is what? Milk of lime. So coming to the chemical properties of calcium hydroxide. As we know, suppose if you send CO2 gas into it, suppose CaOH twice, calcium hydroxide, simply is nothing but lemon water. So if you send the CO2 gas, if you send the CO2 gas into the lemon water, what happened? Immediately we get what? CaCO3 precipitate. This is what? Milky white precipitate will form because of the formation of what? CaCO3. Suppose if you pass excess amount of CO2 to this CaC, milky white PPT, then again the CaCO3 becomes what? CaH3HCO3 twice. So this is not again soluble in the water. So this is soluble. That means that milky white PPT will disappear. That is why if you want to prepare the milky white PPT, you make sure that you should not add any excess amount of CO2 to it. Okay, so this is about the action of lime water to the CO2. Next one, action with halogen. Suppose if you, especially chlorine, when lime water means CaOH twice on reaction with chlorine gas, if you pass the chlorine into the lime, okay, we get CaCl2 and CaOCl. CaCl2 and CaOCl. What is that? Calcium chloride. And what we call that? CaOCl2. Sorry. CaOCl2. What we call? This is what we call it as bleaching powder. Bleaching powder. So the CaOCl2 will split into CaClOCl. That means this is the chemical name of this bleaching powder is also called calcium chlorohypochlorite. Chloro means Cl minus, hypochlorite means OCl minus. So they both are present. That is why it's a calcium chlorohypochlorite. So that we can prepare by passing the chlorine gas into what? Calcium hydroxide. So this is about the some compounds of second A group elements. Next one, cement. Okay, so if you take the cement, as we know, the cement is a combination of what? Tricalcium silicates, dicalcium silicates, and tricalcium aluminates. So this is a combination of these all. Okay, and if you add 5% of gypsum, okay, they will add 5% of gypsum and for the setting of cement. What is the main raw products of cement? What are the main raw products? So the raw materials for cement preparation is what? Limestone, that is CaCO3, limestone, CaCO3, and clay. Clay is nothing but what? Silica. So these are the two main raw materials for the cement. And if you take the Portland cement is a combination of what? CaO SiO2, Al2O3, okay, and then iron oxide Fe2O3, okay, SO2, like this. So many salts are present, okay, and here this is around of 50 to 60, this is 20 to 25, and this is 10 to 15, like this. Different composition species are present. This is combination we called as Portland cement. And the quality of the cement, how they will decide the quality of the cement? The quality of the cement, they will check by comparing the ratio between CaO to the silica to the aluminum. Silica to the aluminum. So that is what the ratio between silica to alumina should be in between 2.5 to 4. Okay, the ratio between silica to alumina, it should be between 2.5 to 4. So when this range is, then only the cement is what? Pure. And one more thing, the ratio between calcium oxide to the remaining all salts, that is SiO2 plus Al2O3 plus Fe2O3, remaining all salts, it should be 2. It should be 2. So when these two ratios are within the limits, then only what? That cement is pure cement. The quality of the cement, they will check by comparing this. Next one, gypsum if you take. So what is gypsum? It is nothing but CaSO4, calcium sulfate, having two water molecules. We call it as what? Gypsum. Okay, gypsum. When the gypsum heated up to 373, less than or equal to 373, even last year 2019 JEE question, 2020 JEE question. That means 2019 December. Okay. Now less than or equal to 370. Even at the 373 kelvins also. Okay. CaSO4 lost 1.5 water molecule. So it becomes what? CaSO4 dot half H2O. So calcium sulfate hemihydrate. This is what we call it as what? Plaster of Paris. So when we heat until 373 kelvins, the gypsum becomes what? Plaster of Paris. Suppose if you heat more than 373 kelvins, if it is further heated, then it loses that half water molecule also. It becomes what? CaSO4 anhydrous, and this anhydrous form we call it as what? Dead burnt plaster. Dead burnt plaster. Even after it becomes dead burnt plaster, even if you add any water molecule, there was no use. It will not come back into what? Gypsum or plaster of Paris. So this is about what? Gypsum. When gypsum heated to up to 373 Kelvin becomes plaster of Paris, and when this plaster of Paris is heated more than 373 kelvins, what happened? It becomes what? Dead burnt plaster. Okay.